Hi, and welcome back to my channel. This is Sonali Ray. If you are enjoying the content and you like being here, I like having you here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell a friend. I'm gonna jump right into this, and this video is gonna be a little bit like kind of miscellaneous. We're gonna cover a couple of things, and as usual, I'm trying not to take up too much of your time. So, a lot of obstacles that you will face once you actually make it in this outfit. And I really want to be very concise about this. Remember that you are not going to be out here by yourself. Here's what I mean. You're going to miss family stuff. You're going to miss people. You're going to miss some of the most random stuff. I swear, when I was out to sea, I missed going to Target and Walmart and all the other regular domestic places that you could go to. It can be kind of taxing. Also, you want to make sure that your unit at home, you guys are very cohesive, because you're going to need someone to keep you, I want to say, I'm going to use the word grounded, because a lot of times being out here, you can just get pulled in so many ways. I've seen people literally lose themselves. So that's important. If you are a spouse or a significant other, a partner of someone out here, please understand that those long days and nights are just that, long days and nights. And sometimes we don't always get out to play like people think we do. Sometimes we do, but it's not there's no blanketed statement stating that we always play, because sometimes you gotta work. It's just what it is. And sometimes they're gonna be a little too tired to call back. Make sure you choose people specifically to make sure you can get stuff. Here's what I mean. Do we get Amazon? Yeah, sometimes. But Amazon doesn't sell everything. For example, if you are from a specific place that has a spice or whatever, and you, excuse me, and you think that that's something that you want, and you can get somebody to do it for you, that means all the world. Or if you're, again, a spouse and you know your mate is out to sea or whatever, send them stuff. That stuff matters. I'm not trying to be super sensitive or sentimental, but that stuff really does matter. You're going to miss stuff. I have been on ships where people had relief dates in, and they had paid for a vacation for them and their entire family to go to Hawaii, and he missed it because he didn't have relief. The way it works in MSC is body for body usually. Now, I'm not talking about the nuances where it's like you can get away with this and away with that. I'll talk about all that in Patreon. Also, Patreon is, I'm having some challenges. So those of you who are actually interested in subscribing to my Patreon channel, I'm going to devote tomorrow to making sure that I can get that up and running. And I can show you, for those of you who don't think I'm actually a sailor, know what that's about, that I am a legitimate sailor. I have been doing this for a long time, and I'm still doing it. So, and to show you some of the things that can become an obstacle for you in your job. So that's about Patreon. So back to not necessarily being able to make everything. People have missed birthdays. I almost missed a funeral once. Matter of fact, I barely made it to my uncle's funeral. I was already in transit, thankfully, because if you're on a ship and you don't have somebody to come take your place, you're not going anywhere. People miss vacations. I've seen somebody pay a deposit to get their hair done back home because they thought they were coming home, and they weren't coming home. And the deposit was non-refundable, and they could not reschedule because they did not know when they'd actually be released. I've seen relationships go to hell because the person couldn't come home. Also, though, there are some people who don't want to go home. I've seen that too. And one thing about MSC Vices being active duty is if your spouse or your mate calls your command, he won't come home or she won't come home, there's nothing the command is going to be able to do about that. It's just not. My husband, he took the money out the accounts and he won't answer the phone. Okay. Like, they do not get into your lives like that. That's not something that MSC deals with. That is something for active duty. So just be mindful of that. Lastly, I will tell you a story because a lot of you, especially the new hires, need to know how certain places govern. In my past videos, I've given you a little tidbits about some craziness, or I always tell you to protect yourself and all that stuff, but I'm going to give you a story. All of my stories are basically usually what happens to me or something I've been privy to. I'll say that. So I joined a ship, and I was this young lady's relief. And she was so ready to get off the ship. She met me at the gangway, helped me bring my stuff upstairs, showed me to my room, showed me everything I was supposed to do as far as turnover go. But we both were entry level. So there should have been somebody in upper level management to do that for us. No problem. She gave me a cautionary tale, told me that the person that was above us, her mannerisms, all that. Now, me not knowing this woman, I didn't want to judge her before I met her, okay? So, because it can get kind of catty out here. It can get a little, and sometimes when people talk about you, it's just not true. It is what it is. And every now and again, there actually is some truth to some things that some people say, okay? So, indulge me for a second. I met the woman, and immediately she tried to write me up. And the only reason I know about it is because there was someone else that I knew was in there, but the woman didn't know that person knew me. And the woman was like, the next time she comes in here, blah, blah, we're going to write her up, So thanks to the guy who looked out for me, But from that moment on, that woman's one mission was to get me in trouble and get me off of the ship. Not because I did anything, not because I violated any procedure or hindered any operation or impeded the mission in any way. She just didn't want me to be there because I showed up. That was enough. So sometimes, whether it's male or female, because I've seen this happen to men too, just because you show up, some people are not going to like you, and they don't have to. So here's where the contrast happened. Here's where it got ugly. On a personal note, I do not care if you don't like me. That's fine. We're grown. On a professional note, I still don't necessarily care if you don't like me, but as long as it doesn't impede my opportunity to make money, okay? Not liking someone is not a good enough reason to stifle their ability to earn, meaning overtime. Stay with me. So on this particular ship, they had overtime opportunities. And the person who didn't like me, who didn't even know me, was in charge of delegating who could get the overtime, right? So the first night, I go and other people go, and she allowed me to work, right? And there was a guy who didn't even know about the overtime opportunity. I told him about it. So he came and we all worked, write down, make sure you write down your hours that you work. Make sure of it. Make sure of it. So, we write our hours down just for a note, just in case there's any discrepancies in our pay slips and things like that. So the next day happens, and she's hosting the same project, and most of the same workers are there. Now, it wasn't many females in our department, especially in that department. I think it was like 2 of us. One didn't want to do it, and I did. I wanted to do it. So the same guy that I told about the first day didn't know we had overtime the second day. So I told him, I said, yeah, they're about to go get done now. We're about to start working now. He was finishing up his regular job. So he said, okay, as soon as I get done, I'm going to come out there. So I go out there, and I was like, hey, is it okay, if I join in, I want to work? She told me no. I was like, is there a reason why? Because I see everybody else do, is there a reason why? She said, no, I got everybody I need. I don't need anybody. I said, so you don't need anybody else? You're not going to take anyone else? She said, no, I have everybody I need. I said, okay. So I go have a seat. And I almost left to go to my berthing, but berthing is berthing is your living quarters, your sleeping quarters. Berthing means you're sharing with multiple people. So I almost went to the berthing, but something said, no, sit there and watch. So as the guy that's finishing up his regular job comes outside, he goes to her, asks if he can work. She said yes. You cannot. That's considered discrimination. It's also harassment, sitting in a hostile working environment. She just went over and beyond the call of bullying. And I tell you this in advance because I didn't know how to protect myself. I didn't know what the law was, and I didn't know what was available to me as far as remedies to what she was doing. I ended up injuring myself. You're going to be careful. It's really easy to get injured out there. Pulled a muscle in my wrist. Had to wear a splint for a while. And it irritated me. So one night, I went to the mess desk to get some juice. She was there. And she was sitting there with our MSO. And I'm watching her poking me. Look, she's not wearing her splint. She did everything she could to get me off the ship, to include writing me up for something that you cannot be written up for. The way that write-ups go, you have to have just cause, and it has to be an actual violation that's documented, because there's a remedy for everything that's documented. Not liking someone or making up rules as you go is not how you do that. You know what I'm saying? But that's what happened. So she wrote me up, and I just kept quiet. And by the time we went before management, because I requested a meeting amongst my management upper level, and I laid out everything, and I mean everything, wrote down everything that she's doing. I'm giving you the Cliff Notes version because it was a journey. I didn't get in trouble. Everything that she laid in wait for me failed. I did not get in trouble. In fact, she did. She got in a lot of trouble, so much so that they removed her because she wasn't just a tyrant to me, she was a tyrant to other people, except they had gotten in trouble and violated protocol at some point or another to where their claims weren't substantiated, whereas mine were, because I didn't get in trouble. So also, I'm gonna leave you with this because I gotta go. If you are filling out an EEO complaint, make sure that you're not in any trouble. Because the first thing that office does is look to see if you have any write-ups or disciplinaries or unsavory anything. And if you do, your claim could have been the most valid claim. It's going to now surface, and it's basically who pulls the trigger first. You see what I'm saying? So if somebody does something to you, don't wait to you get in trouble or till they don't do something you like and then they decide to write you up to be like, well, you did this to me this and that day. Don't do that. But again, we'll cover more of this in Patreon. I am so grateful to have you guys here. Welcome to this channel again, and I go by the handle of Sonali Ray. You guys have a wonderful day if you're seeing it, night if you're seeing it at night. So I'm out. Bye.